Then, crowned in his stead, is the Dark King. Startled, he feels a shiver. He puts the book back quickly and selects another. One that is once born immortal is born again, as a king of all darkness. He's starting to panic. The random incidence of this phrase is uncanny. It's what he hoped might happen, but now it's actually happening. It scares him. He pulls another book, bound in chagrin, opens it on an unpremeditated page, and reads. The black shell cracks, thus he ascends, in the timeless time, and is elevated to the gods, to reign as a dark-crowned king. What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and today we're talking about Warhammer 40K once again. This time, we are talking about the Emperor and his ascension to godhood, because recently, now that we've gotten the End and the Death, Part 1 and Part 2, we have a lot more information to go on as to who the Dark King is and was. Because at first, everybody was mulling over, could it be Conrad Kurz? Could it be Horus? Is it the Emperor? And we had no real way of knowing exactly who this new 5th Chaos God could be. But with the End and the Death Volume 2, we have confirmation that it is none other than the Emperor himself. This is a huge revelation because we all know in 40K that the Emperor is either going to die on the throne and reincarnate into another being since he is a perpetual, or maybe his death would be his apotheosis into godhood and he would be the 5th Chaos God, the God of Order. However, with the new storylines that were given to us via the Siege of Terra, we find out that there is a 5th Chaos God that is being culminated in the warp and is trying to reach its fruition, and that is the Emperor himself. So, before we thought that the Emperor achieving apotheosis was going to be the hope for humanity, the way that humanity can fight back against the Chaos Gods and have some glimmer of hope in this grim dark galaxy, but it seems that that is not what will happen if the Emperor does become a god. He will not be the Chaos God to fight against Chaos God. He will be one amongst the 4, or I guess in this case, one amongst the 5. He would be part of the Wheel of Chaos, and he will doom humanity and the galaxy into unprecedented darkness. So unfortunately, we do know how kind of the events of the End of the Death Volume 3 will happen, because obviously the Emperor is interred on the Golden Throne in the 41st millennia, or I guess the 42nd millennia in recent times. So we know that Horus does die to the Emperor, but the Emperor gets interred on the Golden Throne, so he does not achieve this apotheosis to become the Dark King, the 5th Chaos God. And it's very interesting to see how the Emperor could have a bunch of different theories surrounding what he will become, because currently he's in a half-dead state, and the Imperium is worshipping him like a god, the one thing he said he didn't want to become, and the way as to how he becomes this basically skeleton battery is known to us, but in a way the details aren't there yet, so we'll have to wait until the End of the Death Volume 3 to get these little details and to find out more about the Dark King. Does he indeed become a Chaos God in order to strike down Horus, or does Horus become the Dark King in order to fight more on the same line as the Emperor? Like, there's a lot of different possibilities that could be explored here, but for now, what I feel will happen with the Emperor is that he will use the powers that he has himself, that he stole from the Chaos Gods, the flame, so to speak, that he stole from them so long ago, and he uses that to strike down Horus. However, in doing so, he uses so much of his power, and that's why he allows himself to befall the internment upon the Golden Throne. So now, in the 40K era, there is a slight, how would I put it? There is a slight chance that the Emperor will achieve apotheosis, but I doubt this will be the case, because as we see him, he's barely able to communicate to his Primarchs. He is able to resurrect a lot of devout beings, such as Saint Celestine and Guilliman, when he died at the hands of Mortarion in the Godblight novels. So he is still pretty powerful, able to do all these feats of incredible stamina and like warp abilities. But is this enough to allow him to fight back the Chaos Gods without ascending to a god himself? We'll just have to see, because in the Death of 40K theory that I did, basically I said that the Emperor dies on the Golden Throne, and with his death, obviously the Astronomicon goes out, Terra is engulfed in civil war, and more war with the gate on Terra opening and demons flooding in. So you have the Sisters of Silence and the Custodes fighting that off, but eventually the Emperor does come back to life via his perpetualness, and he's now back to full strength without becoming a god. However, that's too much hope in this grim, dark universe of Warhammer 40K. So I think if the lore progresses with the new inklings of information that we currently have, I think to keep the grim darkness and the hopelessness out of the Imperium, the Emperor will die on the Golden Throne, the Astronomicon will go out, Terra will be invaded, but the Emperor will coalesce into a god, the 5th Chaos God, the Dark King, and he'll have his Legion of the Damned and his saints be his demons, so to speak, but not to aid the Imperium. They will just be another thorn on the Imperium side, and that's going to be that's going to be causing essentially more grim darkness for the Imperium, because now they're not just being besieged from the outside, but also from within. So it'd be up to the Primarchs to come back and aid the Imperium in any way they can to fight back the Emperor alongside Chaos. And it'd be really interesting to see how the Primarchs have to step up to be the central figure that the Emperor used to be. So you'll have Guilliman, you'll have the Lion. Hopefully we get more Primarchs coming back before this happens, because there's no way just 2 loyalist Primarchs can take on everything. Obviously we'll need Vulcan to return, we'll need Constantine Valdor to return, because that also plays into this theory where the King in Yellow will come back with his, I believe it's like an army of blank Space Marines that are also angels. So I think that will be the way that the Imperium will get more forces on their side, and I think that is what's going to happen in the future of 40K. Obviously there's a lot of blanks to be filled, but let me know your thoughts on this below. Do you think the storyline of the Dark King has been postponed for 10,000 years and will become more apparent in the future of 40K, or do you think this is just a storyline introduced to make these novels basically have more meat to them? Because when you think about it, it's like, well, the Emperor and Sanguinius, we all know what happened on the flagship of Horus. We all know the Siege of Terra, how that goes down. But to actually flesh it out and have more storyline, more character-driven arcs, you have to add more lore and information. So perhaps that was just the case, but I think there's just more to it than just that. The Dark King's apotheosis has been postponed, and I think it will return in the future of 40K, maybe closer to the dawn of 50K. And it's best to keep 40K that grim dark hopelessness, because whenever you add too much hope, it just becomes another story of sci-fi akin to like Star Wars, etc. But let me know your thoughts down below, and yeah, that's all I got for today, guys. As always, like, comment, and subscribe for more 40K theories on the future. I'm going to keep this train going. Next time we'll probably talk about the Eldar or the Tau, maybe even Chaos, because I think there's a lot to talk about Chaos, especially with Abaddon and what he holds for the Imperium. So with that being said, guys, thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.